This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, today we are going to talk about XML configuration. Very important topic. So what is the need of XML? How we have to read the XML document? How this XML document can consume by using UiPath? How that we are going to use the attributes? So basically, what is XML? Any idea about XML, Srujan? Fine. So basically,
హలో
yeah. Srujan, you able to hear me?
అన్న కొంచెం డిస్టర్బెన్స్ ఉందన్న హలో
Is it fine now?
యా అన్న
Yeah. So basically, when we're talking about XML, any idea about XML? What is the need of XML? Have you heard about XML at least? Fine.
యా అన్న I heard it yeah
Okay, fine. So XML.
it's
Yeah, tell me. Go ahead.
హలో
Srujan.
యా అంటే బేసికలీ like it's a programming language like extended markup like which is used for web technologies.
Yeah, good. Anything else?
Like ఇంకా like basically like so anything else అంటే yeah that's
Fine.
the thing.
Wonderful. Good. So on top of this one, right? XML is basically. So normally we were talked about like configuration things. What about like what is a configurable? The value which may be vary from environment to environment. Okay. Let's take example. We have database connection string. So what database connection does basically? So if you want to interact with the database, right? So where we need connection string, correct? That connection string, what it contains basically, what is the database name, what is the data source, that means that what is the database name and what is the and the server name. After that, what is user ID and password. So these are the basic things which we have to know when we connect with the database, correct? It is SQL server, so we are going to talk about SQL server back office, back end. If it is Oracle, yes, Oracle is going to be back office, like this. So if you want to make, okay, if you want to make the connection between front end to back end, yes, we need a connection database string. So basically, right, if you're working with the local, in your local machine, where the server name is what? Your local machine, correct? Database is common, but user ID password is your local machine. The same code, tomorrow you are going to deploy it into your testing environment. So in this case, what will happen? Testing server would be different, user ID password is different, correct? The same code you are going to deploy into your UID region. By the time, what will happen? Your server name would be different, password would be different, and obviously username is also would be different. The same code you are going to push into the production, this where the entire connection stream is going to be different than database name. Are you following me, Sujan? What I am trying to say? So here, value is changing environment to environment, correct? If it is a development environment, development server. If it is a testing environment, testing server. If it is a UAT server. If it is a production server. So I should not hard code this type of information into UiPath code. Obviously, right? Why we should not hard code? Can you tell me why we should not hard code?
క్వశ్చన్ లైక్ అంటే నాకు అంత క్లారిటీగా ఉండాలి.
Okay. So normally, right, if you are dealing with your SQL, any database, right?
Yeah.
Any database,
Okay.
database string information, like what is the server name, what is the user ID, what is the password. Obviously,
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of, I think, I'm getting the difference from your end. Some music.
బయట నుంచి లైక్ బయట పెట్టుకున్నారు. యా టెల్ దెమ్ టు రిడ్యూస్ వన్స్.
Yeah, it's okay. Fine. So why we should not hard code? Because each and if you put it in a configuration, so very important, any language, wherever you go, .NET or Java or whatever the language you go, right? So where we have to maintain the configuration. Why we want the configuration? The value may be vary from the environment to environment. In this case, what we have to do, obviously, those information we have to put into the configuration. Tomorrow the value is changing. I'll update the value here only. So what will happen? This value impacting in entire code as well, right? If you hard coded inside, we don't know what are the places we have used database connection string. Correct? We have to remember all the database connection string where we have written. So we have to navigate there, we have to modify it, and we have to republish the code. Correct? But very simple job. If you modify the code in configuration, that is for XML file, so once you publish it, right, so this will be impact your, this will impact your project. I hope you got it. Why we go for XML configuration? XML is basically used to keep the values over there. That values may be vary from environment to environment. It is pretty much clear, I think so. Okay. Now, what is basically, before going to the XML, right? So we just want to, I'll tell you what are the things which we have to do. The first thing is, if you want to interact with database, XML file, make sure that we have to import or we have to install the package called UiPath.web.activities. Then only we can able to find the activities of the XML configuration. The second point is, what we have to do once we install it, we have to read the XML file. First of all, we have to read XML file is what? It is simply a string, right? What is this? Because it is a small XML file which I have written. So what is this XML? It's like a string operator. Everything is strings only, na? Correct? It is like a string. And what we have to do, we have to deserialize this entire string should be converted into one object. Correct? That is where, which is going to be useful for deserialization of the deserialization concept. After deserialization, we are going to convert into object. That object I am going to loop through that one, and finally I am going to access the elements and attributes from this XML file. That is what we have to do. So what is the serialization? Serialization is a process of converting the object into string. That means that if object into can be stored into your file or database or memory. Yes. So we have we have an object. That object should be converted into string. Correct. This is called serialization. What is the deserialization? It is a process of getting back the serialized object so that can be loaded into the memory. That means that can be loaded into the memory. From there, I'm able to access the elements and elements and properties of the particular object. I hope you got it. What is the serialization? What is the deserialization? Any queries here so far?
No, Anna. Yeah, serialization, deserialization.
Now, let's go back to the code. So, what is the first step which they mentioned? So, we have to install the web.activities. UiPath.web.activities. Where we can install? Go back to the activities. Go back to the install packages. Manage packages. Here we go. Already we might have installed that one. UiPath.web.activities. Here we go. UiPath.web. See here. If you want to play with JSON, or if you want to play with the REST, it's a RESTful. You want to interact with any web services, or if you want to interact with the SOAP services, or if you want to interact with any XML operations, make sure that we have to install UiPath.web.activities, which I have been installed here. Otherwise, it will be show install here. So once we install, so what is this? Then only you can able to find a deserialize. Here we go. Where we are getting XML, right? Deserialize XML is coming from where? It is coming from, web.activities. UiPath.web.activities. UiPath. So after this, what we have to do? We have to read the XML document. How to read XML document? It is a text file only, na? So we have used one activity called read text file activity. Here we have read this XML file. What is this XML config file dot? What is the file name? The file name is present in your physical path. So where you have given config file dot XML. This is the file I am reading there. Once we read it, so what is the next step? We said we have to deserialize the document, right? How I am going to deserialize document? We have an activity called deserialize XML, which is going to see where it is coming from. UiPath.web.activities.deserialize XML is an activity, correct? So what it basically does, So once we read the text file, I'm store it into one string object. See here, I store it into one string. From string, what it does, it is going to be converted into one XML document. Here we go. See, this is a text. So I have to read the entire information from XML. I have store it into string. After this string, what I want to do, I want to convert this string into an object. What is an object? It is called X document. X document is where is coming from. System.xml.linQ.x document is a class which is going to deal with your XML operations, XML file. Okay. So what will happen once we read this? See here, DC lies. What is the input for this? Here I am passing string. The string should be converted into one object that is called XML document. Now we have document. one object is ready. From the object, so what we have to do? We have to loop through the object. We have to loop through that use the loop to iterate through the repetitive elements. That's all. Now what we have to do here? If you want to print number, what is the number here? So this is the number, right? If you want to access the number from this XML element, so basically I told you clearly, this is one element. Okay, so this is one element. So XML is basically a collection of elements and attributes. What is attribute? This is an attribute. I hope you got it. So what is the elements and what is the attributes? Now I want to access. Now we have this entire thing is converted into one XML object, right? From object, if you want to access number, how we are going to access? See here, pretty much simple. So number equals to XML dot. I'll show you here. I'm going to expand this. Here we go. What is the object name? XML doc, right? Dot element. We always start with an root node, right? So root node dot element of, what is the element? So inside reconfig dot element of number dot value. Obviously what will happen? So 1 2 3 4 5 is going to be printed here. Okay, so that is how to print it. If you want to type, what is this type here? This is an element, and what is this type here? Type is nothing but basically type is nothing but attribute, correct? Now how I am going to read the attribute from the XML document, XML object? Okay, always we have to start with XML doc dot, this is an object, right? Dot element of configuration. This is always we have to start with root node. This is what is the root node here? Is basically this is the root node, right? See here, each and every node has start tag and end tag. Start tag and end tag. Even in the root node also we have a start tag and root node. So what is this basically? This is nothing but your metadata about your XML. This makes sure that we have to place this. What is the version of the XML? What is the, this is nothing but this is metadata information. So we no need to we just leave about this. This is where from here we have to maintain data. Your own, you have to create your own. What I'm trying to say, give your own tags here. Like you have to give Srijan, or if you have to give to Mohan, you have to give like Raju something. You can give over here. Fine. Now I want to read the type, right? How I'm going to read? So element.config dot. See what is the type here? This attribute, right? Clearly we attribute dot. Just pass the type, key, and what is the value, which is going to display the, what is the value of the type here? Configuration detail is going to be displayed here. Now click cancel. What is the next step? If you want to display count of
instead of type we can put any other name, Kadanna.
You can put any other name instead of put, right? You can put here Sujan also, you can put it, no issues.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Even this is also not only configuration, we can put any name, not only this one, any tag here, right? Whatever, this is nothing but what? XML is nothing but what? User friendly. You don't need to use the existing tags. We can create our own tags and own elements. We can able to create it here. Make sense? Yeah. Now, if you want to display invoice count, how many invoices would be available in your configuration file? How I am going to display here? So what is this XML root node? This is nothing but what? This object dot element of config is the root node dot elements of invoice, which is going to display how many records available. That means that how many records, how many invoice here? I have only one invoice, right? So here pretty much simple, dot count dot toString. That means that it is going to display the how many invoices present here? I have only one invoice present here. Obviously, what will happen, which is going to return number is 1. So next one is, if you want to display the database connection string, so what is the code? Very much simple, right? So what is the code which we have to display here?
Database con, yeah.
That's all. XML doc element root node dot element of database connection string. Obviously, you will get the value. Now, so far good. This is how we are going to read the individual values. Just an example. I want to loop through and I want to read all this value from here. So how I'm going to loop through the invoice? Pretty much simple. We have to use the for each. So make sure that here what I have to do, this entire, you have to keep it in your mind. This entire is nothing but X document. Correct? X document is nothing but entire information. We have stored it into one document. If you want to retrieve the value from here, so make sure that we have to use the X element. What is X element? Basically one element. This is an X element. This is one X element. This is one X element. This is one X, like this. All XML document is nothing but a collection of X elements. Okay. Now here, right? What is this? I want to make sure that this type should be what? X element. So make sure that this type should be X element. And what is the value here? Pretty much simple. So root node dot element of invoice dot elements. Dot elements means what? This is element. Dot elements means which is going to bring all this value together. That means how many elements would be present here? 3 elements would be present inside the invoice. All these 3 going to be present here. Now click cancel. Now I am reading this. So what will happen? I'll get 3 values. The first value come here. So what is the first value? Item dot name. What is the name basically here? Name is nothing but invoice number. And what is the value here? Item dot value is nothing but what? 1, 2, 3, 4 is the value. Are you following, Sujan? You stop me if you this is very the basic stuff. When you go for any programming language, not when you go for UiPath project, right? Make sure that we have to the configuration. So without configuration, we should not write any code at all. So from common, right? We have started from common things yesterday. Exception mechanism. No
Exception.
Very important. Okay. Now this is nothing but what? This is a name and this is a value. So I'm loop through this one. I'm printing all the name and the value. So here I just want to tell you one thing here. What I want to tell here. So basically, if I want to, right, if we want to store this entire information, where we can store, we have a collection called dictionary. What is the dictionary? Which contain key value pair methodology. That means that which is going to have key and value. Key and value. What is the key here? Basically, the tag of the element is nothing but key, and the value of the element is nothing but, I mean to say that, nothing but value. Okay. So easily I can push entire information into one dictionary. This dictionary, you can pass it across your programming files, I mean across your XAMLs, wherever you want, you can use that one. You got this point?
అంటే నాకు అర్థం కాలే ఒక్కసారి.
Yeah, that is what. So I want to store entire, because this one we have stored an object, right?
Yeah.
We have stored an object. Instead of passing that object to your entire, right, your XAML, because this is going to be reused in all the XAMLs, correct? This is a configuration. In each XAML, maybe use a configuration value. Am I right or not?
Same configuration, yeah.
So this one, instead of directly sending an XML document, XML object, this XML object entirely I'm going to convert into one dictionary. What is the dictionary? It's a collection. That means that I get multiple values into that in the form of key value pair. You got my point? So in this case, here we have easily, right? We have a key and value, correct? This is the key. We have to consider this is the key and this is the value.
Values.
So we have a concept called dictionary here. Add to dictionary. So before add to dictionary, we have to declare one variable called dictionary. How I am going to declare here? I'll show you.
Dictionary. System dot dictionary.
Here we go. System dot collection dot dictionary. See what is the key and what is the value. Here, make sure that we have to select what is the type of the key. What is the type of key here? See, if you could see my XML document, what is the key value here? It is a number, right? Number in the sense it is characters. So make sure that we have to use the string, correct? And what is the value? Here 1, 2, 3, 4, but here we have a alphanumeric value is contained, right? So what we have to do? This also should be string. Clear so far?
Okay.
So once we click on the, automatically what will happen, which is going to be created like system dot collection dot generic dot dictionary of. So what is the key and value here? Key should be string and value also should be string. This is called, and make sure that we have to create instantiation because we are going to store more values into that. Obviously we have to create instantiation here, new dictionary of string comma string. So far good or not?
Yes, string comma string.
Hello?
But and inko okka chinna dot ana like we have the numbers like new.
Yeah, I expected your question. So you mean to say that we have numbers here, correct? Why we want to create? Why don't we create an integer, right? That is your question.
Yeah, I mean like the character or something. Yeah, numeric like that.
This entire information. Not only I'm storing number into my dictionary, I'm storing entire information. See, invoice number L1234. That means the alphanumeric. Which type can be accommodated? That one string only, na?
Yeah.
Following or not, Sujan?
Yeah. Got it.
I have string. I have declared both string. This is also string. This is also string. I have been declared there. Now, once you're done with this, I want to add it in the dictionary, right? How I'm going to add a dictionary? We have add to dictionary concept. See, make sure that before that, if you want to access dictionary, right, make sure that we have to install Microsoft.activities.extension should be installed. Where we can find manage packages. Here we go. Microsoft.activities.extension should be installed. Then only we can able to access this activity. So when you drag and drop here, right, obviously what will happen, which is going to ask you like this. So what is the key which we have been declared here previously?
String.
So this is also string and this is also string, and click OK. So what will happen, which is going to be created like this by defaultly. So what is the key which we want to use? What is the dictionary name? What is the dictionary name which we have been created here? The configuration.
Yeah.
So the configuration, and what is the key? Key we are getting from here, na? From loop, correct? Item.name. Key item dot value. That's all. That is what I have given here. Item dot name dot to string. The key and value I have passed. Why I am passing key and value? By passing, so easily you will get the value from the dictionary object. So far clear? So what will happen? Which is going to keep on loop through the value. So how it is going to, first this value will come. This is the key and this is the value which is stored into the dictionary. And next iteration, this value will come. This will be act like a key and this will be act like a value. The third value will come to the picture, and this is the third element to come to the picture. This is the key, and this is the value which have been stored into your dictionary object. Pretty much good.
Yeah.
Once we add it into the dictionary object, how I am going to retrieve the value from dictionary? Because this dict config, I'll pass it across your XAMLs. Okay, dict config, I have to pass it across your XAMLs. I have to pass it, right? So in this case, what we have to do, how we are going to access the value from the dictionary? How we are going to access? I'm going to pass the key, then you'll obviously get the value. What is the key which you have been passed here? Dictionary dot item of invoice number. So what is invoice number is what? Invoice number is the key, right? And automatically you will get the value from the dictionary. Pretty much simple. Sujan.
Yeah.
Now same thing if you want to access the customer name from dictionary, like this.
Same customer number dot dict number. Yeah.
One way. Another way also we can use it. Instead of dot item, directly you can pass the key also. This is another way. I just given two examples. What are the ways which we can access the value from the dictionary? Here I clearly mentioned. The same thing if you want to access the customer name, yes, we can able to access dict.customer.
Okay.
Quickly save it and run and see what is the output you will get it. Let me see the output here. Here we go. Now let me clearly, what is the number which we got it here? What is the number? First of all, we have printed number, right? What is the number value? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is printed.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
Type is configuration details. What is the database connection string or the invoice count? How many invoices were there? I have one invoice. What is the database connection string? So this is my database connection string. Okay. And what is the key here? Key is nothing but invoice number and value is nothing but Y1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Like this, customer name as well as customer number and customer name we have printed. So once you push in, this is what dictionary, right? From here, I am going to retrieve the value from dictionary. How I am going to retrieve the value from dictionary? So customer invoice number. What is invoice number here? I1234. Customer number 1234. Customer name. So, pretty much simple.
Yeah.
This is very okay. So I think you have done it right. Facebook login from the Excel, correct? Did you complete that use case?
Not yet.
So you have to do that one. Once you do that one, right, instead of putting into XML, we can instead of putting Excel, we can put it into. Now you do one thing. Instead of doing XML,
Yeah, we can directly put it into this. Like మనం ఇది తీసుకొని instead of keys, we have to put a user ID and password.
Yeah.
And
Here you can put password like username, okay, and this is end username, password. You can put password here, and you can put endpoint. So once you configure, everything is done. We are going to read the value from here, and we are going to
we have to put it into Facebook. Facebook.
Type into activity, right? You can put it type into or set text activities. You can use for that. Okay.
Yeah.
So make sure that before come for our next class, make sure that you have to complete that one. So then only we'll move on to the next concept. Okay.
Okay.
So I think this is the end of the XML configuration. XML is done. So mail sending we'll discuss later. So database connections, database we'll discuss about database connection. So what is basically database connection? Can you tell me why we need XML? Why we need database?
Like to store the whole the data, like the tables and everything in one particular database engine.
Okay.
To connect that, we have to connect the database engine and retrieve from the
If you want to store the data, if you want to modify the data, if you want to connect the data, if you want to retrieve the data, yes, we have a backend called SQL database or Oracle or Sybase. We have different types of databases, correct? Types of data. But for time being, let us discuss with the SQL server. Okay, I'm just logging, but here this is what your server name. Okay, that is what we are talked about. This is my SQL server name. This is what your login ID, and this is the password. I'm clicking connect. So we have databases. So I think what is the SQL server? Nothing but collection of databases, right? Here we have been created, already we have created a employee database. So select start from Here we go. I have this much of data with me. Okay, see, so I have data with me. How I am going to read the data from here, how I am going to modify, how I am going to delete some data, how I am going to update the data. Let us see this one. Okay, now let me create a new project called database connection demo. So basically in real time, right, where exactly we are going to the database, if you want to write the bot transactions, just an example, you are getting on daily basis 1000 invoices per day. So what we have to do, I want to write all the bot transaction, like what is the invoice number and what is the status. There's nothing but the invoice is paid or denied or what, it is paid, or that invoices is what is the status and what is the start time, what is the end time. Okay, so which bot it has been processed. If you want to display all this, if you want to store all this information, yes, I can store. So by using the database operations. Now let's quickly do this one. So make sure that if you want to deal with database operations, make sure that you have to install, this is the one, UiPath.database.activities. Then only you can able to access the activities of your database. So this is nothing but SQL activities pack. Okay, and just click close and type. Here we have database. Here we go. I have only 6 activities which is going to deal with your database. So let's drag and drop the first thing. What is the connect? So obviously what will happen? We click on the configuration. So what is the first of all, we have to open the connection, right? That is what I clearly told you. Before discussing configuration, we had discussion about the database connections, correct? Where the connection, we have to give the name of the SQL. What is your data source is SQL server, right? I'm just clicking on SQL server. So what is, if you want to deal with MS Access, yes, we can able to do. If you want to deal with ODBC, Open Database Connectivities, okay. If you want to deal with this, I can go for the ODBC, or if you want to deal with SQL server, yes, we can able to go ahead with SQL server. What is your server name? Here, what is my server? My server
SQL Express.
I'm just copy this and paste it here, and obviously it is where it's going to ask you Windows authentication or server authentication. Let me go with the server authentication. I have username and password. And what is the database name? Employee, right?
Yeah, employee.
This is the database name, correct? Employee test connection. Your test connection got succeeded. We are able to successfully test connection between your front end and back end. Who is the front end here? UiPath today is the front end.
UiPath.
UiPath is front end. What is the back end?
SQL server is back end. SQL server.
Wonderful, wonderful. Let me click OK. This will happen. It is going to generate the connection string. What is this? Username, password. Okay. And what is the data source? Data is nothing but what? Server name. Initial catalog. Initial catalog is nothing but what? Your database name. And make sure that we have to select the provider. Who is the provider here? SQL client is your provider. And click OK. Here we go. Obviously what will happen? Connection string got established. Provider name is also established. Okay. Now what is the output here? Database connection string. So make sure that we have to store into your database connection string. Okay. We have opened one connection. That connection should be stored somewhere, right? That is nothing but your database connection. Now go back here. Variables. Let me create one variable. Nothing but database connection string. This should be what? This should be database. Here we go. We have UiPath dot database connection. Now we have open the connection. I mean, we have created one variable of type. What is the type here? Database connection. So Just quickly go and give that name here. What is that? Database connection. So far good. Any queries so far?
No.
You have opened the connection. I have stored it into one string. Database connection string variable. Now, after this one, what we have to do? We want to read the data from your database, right? So, what is an activity? What is an activity?
Read.
We have
Uh,
query activity. Just drag and drop here.
execute query.
Execute
Okay.
query. Execute query is basically which is going to execute the query in the backend, and it is going to retrieve the data and store it into one data table. See, very simple. What I want to execute, select star from EMP. I want to execute. Copy this, and where you want to give the query here, just double quotes and give this. Okay. It is even case sensitive or it is not a case sensitive. Any value you can give it here. So before going to that,
And if we have multiple queries, like if we want to execute multiple queries, we can do that.
sorry.
If you want to do multiple queries, we can do that in execute query dantlo.
But what? Let's go for the stored procedure.
Okay.
In the stored procedure, if you want to execute multiple queries, yes, we can able to do in the stored procedure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our store procedure పెట్టుకొని yeah, we
Right.
can
Here we can command type here, na. Here we can select the what is this?
stored procedure. Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
executing a plain text. Okay. If you execute,
Okay.
if you stored procedure, use stored procedure here and pass the name of the stored procedure here. Automatically, what will happen? That is going to be executed. Fine.
Yeah.
And before that one, here also we have a configuration. Already we have opened the connection. Do we need to open the connection again?
No need.
Here we have an existing DB connection. What is the database connection name? Database connection.
Database connect. Yeah.
And what is the output for this one? Data table, right? We have to create one data table. What is the data table? DT, EMP.
Yeah.
This should be what? This should be data table. Here we go. System.data table. Make sure that what we have to do, we have to get instantiation. Then now from here, like here, what we have to do, we have to DT EMP. Now it is done. We have opened the connection. I have used the existing connection. I have written some sample query here. I am going to execute. After execution, which is going to store it into where? Which is going to store it into data table. Now, if you want to print the data, how we are going to print the data table? Output data table. We have a concept called output data table. Go back here. What is the input for this? DT EMP. Here, str output. So copy this and create one variable here. That's all. Now let's print that string. How I'm going to print it? Put it in the log message. What is it? Str output. Quickly run and see whether we are able to read the data from your database or not. Here we go. See here. I'm able to read the data from database or not. Hello?
Yeah. The whole database has been.
If you want to push this one to your Excel, yes, you can able to push it. What is the activity to pushing to Excel?
Right.
Yeah, right range. Wonderful. Right range, you can use it. You can push in Excel also. Now this is called reading data from your database. Now let me create one more thing. What is that? If you want to update some data into your database, how I am going to update it? Let's go back here. New flowchart. Update database. Create. Now, what is the first step? Database. What is the first step which we have to do? We have to connect it, and we have to instead, right, we have a concept called start transaction. Let's drag and drop the start transaction. What is the transaction?
Process from one
To execute set up,
transfer of
transact set up instructions, right, which is going to be satisfied, correct? I'm opening, I'm modifying, everything is the transaction, right? So double click on it. Here, see, which is going to again the same configuration, like how the connect. I'm doing the same system configuration, connection wizard, SQL server, give the server name. What is the server name here? Paste it. And if you want to go with the Windows, yes, you can go, or else you can go with the, always better we go with the server authentication. Select the database, test connection, succeeded, click OK, give the provider name. It's by default optional only. By default, it's going to be take it. So if you want to click, yes, you can click, or else click OK. Now, what is the output we have to do? We have to create one variable. It's called database connection string. This should be what? This should be UiPath.database connection. Once done with this, store it into that variable. Clear? So far good. I want to execute the data. I want to modify the data, right? So we have an activity called execute non-query. This execute non-query is used to what? Which is going to execute some query on the backend, and which is going to return the affected record. That means that if you want to insert, if you want to update, if you want to delete, yes, I can able to go ahead with execute non-query only. Clear?
Okay.
Database connection string. I'm going to use existing database connection because I should not open, already have been opened, right? Here we have to give the database connection, and we have to pass the query. What is the query? Let's update table name set, update table name set. Let's say example, we have data called Ramya here. Set employee. I want to change the salary of the employee name 105. How am I going to set? Salary equals to set salary equals to, here I am going to update it. Here it is not required single quote because since it is integer, right? Like this. I'm entering some value here where, what is the where condition? Employee ENO equals to 105. Where equals to
where you have to type EM roll number, E number.
Okay, that's all. And what is the output for this? The output is integer affected record. So affected record nothing but what? It is a which is going to return affected record, like if it is if you are updating 2 records, which is going to return 2. If you are updating 0 record, which is going to return -1. Okay. The one of the interview questions. What is the output of execute non-query? If nothing is executing, what is the return value? What is the return value? -1. Okay. Now I am store it into integer int affected records. This should be what? Integer. This should be always put it outside of scope. Now print the value. What is how I'm going to print it? Log message. So what is this? Affected dot to string. After printing, if you want to close the connection, how I am going to close the connection? I am going to disconnect it. disconnect my database. Put it outside. So if we want to disconnect, right, what we have to pass it here? So database, we have to disconnect, right, obviously. So we should not open resources always, because it will impact your performance, correct? We have to resources when I use the resources, and we have to disconnect it. That is the best practice. And I'm passing only database connection string name, that's all. Click save it and try to run and see what is going to be update here. So what we have to do, we should not put it here, which we have to put it outside, right? Because still it is inside of what we are doing. You are putting inside of your transaction, so it is going to throw an exception. To make sure that this should be deleted from here. So once you come back here, only we have to, once you complete the transaction, then we have to disconnect, correct? That is what I'm just giving. That is clear. What is the why we got issue this?
We can put total outside of the connection kadana.
Yeah.
The
transaction is completed is no longer useful. That is what it's trying to say. We have to complete the transaction, then only we have to disconnect. Now this time it is going to be work. Let me run it. So see what is the output here. Effective record 0 because it have been updated earlier, correct? So what is the previous value? 614514, right? Now F5 is updated, right? Now let me give the different value here. And the query would be a different value. I just given like this, okay? 35,465. What is the previous value? 3665. Now let me rerun again this. What is the output? What happened? It is not returning value. Oh, okay. So what is the problem here? We are not assigned the value here, right? So make sure assign the value only which is going to retrieve the value. And rerun this. Why 0 is displaying over there? By default integer value is 0, right? So that it is displaying this over there.
One will be, yeah.
Clear? Now just refresh this. Here we go. It is got updated or not?
Yeah.
So like this, practice for delete also. And if you want to insert also, you can insert the value here. Just pass the insert query, it will be insert the values. So that is pretty much simple. Now if you want to insert bulk insertion, you try for delete and single value insertion. Now I will tell you how to insert bulk values. Okay, this is called bulk insertion gem. Okay. Here database. So we have discussed connect, we have discussed disconnect, we have discussed execute non-query, we have discussed execute query, and we have discussed what is this? Start transaction. We have discussed called insert a compatible table in existing table. That means that if you want to insert entire table, one small table, you are going to construct one table that if you want to store it in database, yes, I can able to store it. Okay, bulk insertion. Let me do in different way. Okay, now I have data from here. Let's say example region, and this is like 114, and this is like 115 here. Kamal, and this should be value some different value like this. Okay, fine. Now I want to read from here, and I want to push it into your database. How I am going to do this? Quickly save this. What is the name of the file? Bulk insertion. So what is the first step which we have to do in your UiPath? What is the first step which we have to do? Read range, correct?
Yeah, అంటే ఫస్ట్ కనెక్షన్ దాని తర్వాత
No, first of all we have to read the value, then only we have to open the connection, right?
Okay, yeah.
So go back to the where first of all we have to data, right? Then only we have to open the connection, correct? So bulk insertion. So in the desktop, the bulk insertion employee. Sujan, are you following any are you comfortable, right?
అంటే లైక్ వన్ డౌట్ లైక్ ఓన్లీ వీఆర్ ఇన్సర్టింగ్ ద వాల్యూస్ లైక్ బల్క్ ఆఫ్ వాల్యూస్ కదన్నా సో ఇఫ్ యూ ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ ఇఫ్ యూ కనెక్ట్ టు ద డేటాబేస్ దెన్ ఇన్ దట్ డేటాబేస్ ఇఫ్ యూ ఇన్సర్ట్ నంబర్ ఆఫ్ వాల్యూస్ అయితే అప్పుడు అట్లా చేయొచ్చా?
Yeah, we can insert.
You said that you have to first take the data. Like,
Yeah, not
if you don't know the data and everything, if you want to insert the values or if you want to insert the data, so first of directly we can connect to the database and then we can insert the values.
Yeah, that way is also possible. First of all, you are going to connect the database where you want to read the value. Let's say example, if you are now I am reading data from the Excel, or if you want to create one data table also, you can create it here on the fly. You need data, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Value in database, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Following me or not?
Yeah.
Now let me create one data DTEMP. This should be what? This should be data table. Bulk insert nothing but what? It is going to insert multiple values into your database at a time.
Multiple values. Yeah.
Now read this value. I'm going to assign to this. What is this? DTEMP. Now I have a table is ready. Now what is this? Next step is basically we have to do connection, open connection. So database, start transaction. What we have to do? Simply configure. So use server authentication. Here we want to select the database. Press connection, succeeded. Click OK. And here we are going to SQL client. Click OK. Create one more variable called database. This should be what? UiPath database dot connection string. So once you read this, store it into where I want to store. Now clear.
Database connections.
Clear. What is the next one which we want to do? Insert, right? How I'm going to insert? We have a concept called insert. Here, what is the table name? Make sure that you have to use the exact table name in your database, EMP, right? And what is it? From where you want to insert it? DT EMP. What is the existing connection name? And this is also written. The output of this one also affected records. So click. So in. This should be integer. This should be fine. Now go and click here. What is this? In affected records. I'm going to give it. Pretty much good so far.
Yeah.
Display the value. How I am going to display? Affected records. Dot toString. Now, if we want to disconnect this, we can enable disconnect. What we have to pass? Just pass the database connection string alone. That's all. Now how many records here? We have 14 records, correct? Now let's save this, and before this one, save this and run it. See here, of affected records is
2.
it is completed. Now let's go back and check. It should be displayed. Here we go. So it's been added, right?
Yeah. 15th record cover.
Fine. It has been added 2 records. This is how we are going to, if you can add n number of values, the n number of values is going to be inserted here. That's all. So we have been discussed all activities which is related to database. Clear?
Yeah.
Any queries so far for the day?
No.
So I think we have completed this. So
And now we can write a query of joins for now. No?
yeah, joins also you can write it, no worries. Here simply you can write the query here. Update table now. Here you can write in joins query.
Yeah, okay.
Copy the query and simply paste it here, that's all.
Yeah.
Only make sure that you require 2 tables. So because I have only one query here, so you try to
Yeah, understand.
table,
Yeah, understand.
write the query, the same query you just pass it here. And if you want to pass dynamic values here, like employee number, if you should not hard code it, we want maybe getting ready from your database, sorry, from variable, right? How I'm going to do here? Single quote, double quote, plus this. Here you can pass the like this. You can pass it. Got it? Huh?
Yeah.
If you want to pass dynamically, if you want to pass the values, because we have hard code right here, or you may be retrieving from your some variables only, right? In real time, what will happen? Real time, you should not hard code it. If you want to read the value dynamically, that will be stored into number. Here, what is the syntax of this one? Single quote, double quote, plus plus. Inside that one, you can pass the variable name.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I'm done here. Any queries we'll discuss, or else we can go to wind up session for the day.
No queries.
Thank you so much, Sujan. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Thanks, Bye.